one day I was sitting in a conference and it was like, you're supposed to be a midwife.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Plan A, the podcast all about chasing your dreams and figuring out the highs and lows of that. I'm Alicia. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for tuning in. And today's conversation is going to be one that is really close to my heart, and I'm really excited about it and highly anticipating the conversation because it's about purpose. I talked a little bit about my journey and how I feel so connected and how I feel like I've just been pulled to do so many things creatively. And with my guest, I feel like she has a similar pull to hers. So I would like to introduce our guest, Dr. Akaninyene Ruffin.
Huh?
Hi.
Hey, friend.
So this is actually my friend, like in real life. So we just gonna get into it.
Yes.
So, like I said, Plan A is all about chasing your, like figuring out. I defined it as doing what you love, like figuring out how to do what you love, figuring out what your dream is, and making it happen for yourself. And as someone who is a midwife officially, she's a midwife officially. I remember you talking about your journey a little bit when you had your graduation party earlier this year, and so I want you to share a little bit of that and how you even got into midwifery because it's not something that I feel like people talk about often unless they are just really into.
Yeah. Okay, well, first, thank you for having me. I like to tell people that I took the scenic route to midwifery. I think it's a big part of not rushing your purpose, but just kind of doing the next best thing right in front of you. So, growing up, I wanted to be a million different things. And never really considered going into healthcare until I was in high school. Then once I got to high school, I was super interested in what makes some people healthy and some people unhealthy, right? And so when I went to college, I studied health disparities, medicine, health, and society. So what about our society makes people well or unwell? And then I've always loved history. So I also got a degree in African American studies. And I thought I was going to be a doctor, and I was shadowing like my childhood pediatrician, and she told me her one piece of advice was that if there's anything outside of being a physician that you can do, go do that. And if you go do that and you still feel this pull to be a physician, medical school is always there. And that gave me permission to really explore and see what else was out there for me. And in that time of exploration, I really got pulled towards women's health and pulled towards midwifery. And that was just like one day I was sitting in a conference. It was like, you're supposed to be a midwife. But I was already a senior in college, which is late.
Yeah.
It's never too late. And because I grew up in Alabama, and at that time, in order to be a midwife in the state of Alabama, you had to have a nursing degree first. And I was not getting a nursing degree. And I had like 3 months to graduation. So I quickly pivoted and took nursing prereqs, applied to a nursing program. And I knew one older woman who was a midwife, and she said that she wished that she had a good background in primary care. And so I applied to be both a family nurse practitioner and a certified nurse midwife. And then I didn't get into the midwifery program. I only got into the family nurse practitioner program. And I was like, this is how I thought. I would listen to that lady, and she told me to do this, but I'm not trying to do that. But then I did that for almost 2 years before reapplying to midwifery school and really committing to this call is still on my life. And if something is calling you, it's going to keep calling you till you pick up.
Listen, don't I know it?
Oh, it kept calling me until I finally pivoted and went back to midwifery school and just graduated today.
Congratulations, friend. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I understand what it's like to kind of just to be on your journey of being like, I don't know if this is for sure, but let me see, kind of if you're telling me because you still kind of. I feel like sometimes with life, you can never be so sure of something.
Right.
It's always a lingering question mark.
Right.
Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Are you sure? Because then it's I talked about it before. When it comes to trusting yourself and trusting your instincts, what did it take for you to just be like, okay, I'm gonna trust that this is what I'm supposed to be
doing? Chaos. Yeah, I'm gonna trust that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I think that when I started telling people that I wanted to be a midwife, most were like, midwives still exist. You can still do that. And so there was a little bit of doubt there. But as far as me trusting that I can do it, my grandmother's little sister, when I told her that I wanted to be a midwife, she told me that their grandmother, so my grandmother's grandmother, had been a midwife when they were growing up. And she pulled out her birth certificate, and just like an older Black woman, to keep all of her belongings, her personal, on her. Okay. And my Aunt Maddie said, "Go get my purse." I went and got her purse, and I was like,
"Where she had it in her? We had it in that moment."
Baby, she said it didn't have her purse, and she dug through her purse and found the original copy of her birth certificate. Like, it is all tattered and like you can tell it was 70 something years old at that time. And she pulled it out, and like the person who had signed the birth certificate was her grandmother. And so seeing like a person in my lineage, in my bloodline that had done this before, it really felt like a true calling, and that all these things were leading up to this moment. And so that sort of like, I felt like I was supported by my ancestors. Even if nobody else here in the flesh and the living was supporting me, knowing that somebody in my bloodline had done that was really important to me. And then also, like, after I turned 25, old lady, after I turned 25, I was like, what would it look like to bet on yourself? To really go all the way in, even if nobody else believes in you, and even if you have to turn your life like totally upside down. It's really a season of being really unhappy. And I was like, I can keep doing the same thing that I've always been doing and know that I'm probably gonna stay unhappy. Or I can follow this dream that feels absolutely unattainable and chaotic. See what happens.
I feel that. I feel like I got to the point where I'm just like, I'm tired of doing the same thing. I'm tired of this, like, being in the same routine and nothing is changing, no matter how much. Like, you can tweak a little bit, like do a little something different, and it's like, that ain't work. You might do a little something else and be like, that ain't work. It's like, okay, so do I just need to do a complete overhaul to that is so scary. Absolutely.
I quit my job. I moved across the state, and like very chaotically went to midwifery school. Like what did it take for you? Exactly. What did it take for you to follow your dreams? Chaos, right? But it felt like a fresh slate, and the opportunity to say, like you said, like I've done the same thing, and I'm expecting different results, and it's not getting me there. So what happens? You do something totally different.
Sometimes all it takes is just a little bit of like, F it.
Exactly.
I'm gonna do it. Like,
and I'm gonna find out.
You kind of get to that point of like, I have nothing else to lose.
Right.
Like, I have nothing else to lose but just seeing what happens. Because like, what's the worst? You can go back and you can still be in the same position if you were, or you could just have a completely different life.
Yeah.
And like, it's a little bit of an adrenaline rush though, because it just be like, yeah.
And when it all works out, it all works out. But you kind of have to be willing to fail in order to succeed. It's like you got to spend money to make money, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to take these risks. And when it, like, what if I fail? What if I fail? What if I fail? But also, what if you succeed? Like, what happens if it all works out for you? And, it's a little bit of delusion, maybe.
Yeah.
But, like, you need a little bit of that to, like, take those risks.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. Because I feel like the way our brains are wired, it's always, what if I fail? We don't really always, like, that's the first question. It's like a bunch of what ifs, and the what ifs are always negative.
Right.
But it's never like, what if it all goes right? Like, what if it works out? And I think that when you are chasing your dreams and on that journey of like trying to make something out of nothing, you do kind of have that bit of a delusion, as you said, and kind of just being like, well, I think it's gonna work out, and it is scary because I'm kind of at this point now where I'm just like, I'm betting on myself, and nobody else around me is being it, and nobody else is like, that makes sense.
Right.
It's just like, it's making sense to me in my head, and I'm just like, yeah, like this makes sense for me, and everybody's like, why?
Yeah, for sure.
So they're like, why? So I think it's a very like affirming moment to hear you say that, because I'm like, so much sense. And it's like, okay, because sometimes you do need to hear from somebody else that kind of like navigate it, even though it's different, it's still similar. And then trying to get like taking it and just following your delusion, following your heart, following your instinct, and just being like, okay, like I got to do what it sounds right for me, because it's a lot of courage, and we don't always have courage to do the hard things.
And that's the thing. Like, it takes a lot of courage, and you have to. You might never feel ready. You still have to make the decision, right? And making decisions, even if you don't necessarily feel ready, and pushing towards what you definitely feel like is in front of you to do. And sometimes I think it's really, really easy to get stuck in the, okay, but what does everybody else think? And what is everybody else, imagining for me? But you really have to sit and say, if I put all of the energy that I could put into worrying, into planning towards this going in my favor, like that's a totally different, like, energetic mood, right? Because I'm a worry word. Like, it's really, really easy for me to anxiety spiral and doom scroll and be like, oh my goodness, the world is ending. But for this in particular, like, it really required me to be like, okay, what do I want to do? Like, which midwives would I want to work with? If I could work with anybody in the country, and I'm like, I can go to any program in the country. It was like, well, I want it to be free. And so I started putting out all of these things. So maybe, but you get what you pay for. Midwifery education needs a lot of work. But yeah, it was really like me sitting down and like kind of being a child and make believing whatever I wanted, and just like daydreaming about what I wanted my midwifery training to look like, and then saying, what steps can I take to get as close to this make believe reality as possible?
Yeah, I think that it's so funny that, like, because when you say like it's like being a child, because I feel like when we are children, we don't have none of the radiology idea, whatever. We don't have none of the thoughts that is like restricted.
Right.
We just are free, and we just can be so imaginative and everything. But like when we get adults, we kind of have all that, because like we are told so many things like you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. But it is a little bit of coming back to your childlike self,
right?
Being like, I can do whatever I want.
Truly, because everything that exists was made up.
Yeah,
like everything is make believe.
Don't listen.
Everything is made up. Everything is made up. Everything's fake.
From credit stores to truth.
Everything. We living in other folks' imaginations, and so it's like, this is my life, and I'm the author, right? I'm a co-author in my life. So what kind of story am I going to write? And if the story that I want to write, like, and you're the main character, like, you're the author and the main character, so like, do what you want.
Listen, friend, because they're right there. That is me. That is me, because I'm just like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. At the end of the day, I'm gonna have to deal with the consequences, and at the end of the day, I have to live it. So if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it. Yeah,
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put it all in. Like, as long as you're not trying to harm nobody or do nothing crazy.
Yeah, right.
But when you're trying to do something to make the world a better place, like, if the people who are out here doing bad things are doing it big and bad, then the people who are out here trying to make the world a better place also have to do it just as big, just as bad.
Like, at some point, it's like, what do you risk? Literally, like, what do you have to lose?
Right.
Like, low risk, low reward, a high risk, high reward, and then high risk, it'd be a risk for sure.
It'd be a risk. It'd be a risk there.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to ask you, like, because, like you said, people really don't think about midwifery and midwives in like modern day. But like, what does that look like? What does the day in the life of a midwife look like?
Oh gosh, I love this question. So let me first talk about like what a midwife is, because a lot of people might not be familiar with a midwife. I think that midwives need to do a better job of our own PR strategy. So if you are not familiar with a midwife is a healthcare professional that can support all things reproductive health, from your very first period, which is called menarche, very last period, which is called menopause, everything in between. So that often includes, we think about family planning, so birth control, we think about STIs, we think about pregnancy, postpartum, lactation, all of those sorts of women's health, reproductive health things are things that midwives can assist with and be the healthcare provider for. We are the experts in low risk, normal physiologic birth. And so what that looks like is supporting people who are generally healthy, become pregnant, maintain their pregnancies if they so choose, and give birth to like the babies that they desire. And so the big difference, people are really familiar with like doulas.
Yeah.
And so they ask like, oh, are you a doula? I'm like, no, friend. Doula. You need a doula. I want you to have a doula, right? But doulas often provide emotional and spiritual and like physical support for childbirth. And they can do education as well, but they're not your healthcare provider. So they're typically not running labs. They're not like checking your blood pressure, prescribing medications, things like that. Whereas a midwife can do all of the healthcare, patient care side and monitor the mom, monitor the baby until they get their pregnancy is a part of your journey.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then, so like being that, 2 questions. For one, so for the people who are curious, is it an either or type of thing? Would you need a midwife and a doula?
I think
or if you could either choose, if you just needed one.
You never just need one. You never just need one. I like to say, so a doula, like doulas today, in the past, before we had quote unquote doulas, you went into birth with your mama, your grandmama, your aunties, your best friend, like people who had had babies. Birth is a communal event. It is something that we need connection, we need support to like get through. And so the midwife does not take the spot of your doula, right? Like with whatever your community support looks like, we work well together because it's my responsibility to make sure that everybody's safe, right? And that the clinical side of birth, the medical side of birth, that we are watching and witnessing to ensure that things are going as they quote unquote should.
Yeah.
And the doula's role is to be there to like provide you that emotional support. A midwife still can do that, but it's easier when you have as many people as possible kind of like surrounding the birthing person. So my favorite births, the person typically has other people supporting them and not just me. Yeah. Because that's a lot of pressure. I mean, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Know how to do it. But it's always better in my mind if you have other people who are also supporting you throughout the labor.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Because I know, like, before we encountered each other, I was always familiar with doulas. But I really, like you said, it wasn't like a common thing to hear about a midwife. It's just usually like the doula and then the OB-GYN.
Yeah.
Like the in between. And so I'm glad that you are here to like let people know it is like it's a space for that if people want to pursue that, if people are interested in it, or people just need it, like the people who are pregnant with family planning, like they want to know
what they can have. And even like you don't have to be pregnant to see a midwife. You don't have to be trying to be pregnant to see a midwife. Like we can do all of your annual exams. If you need a pap smear every 3 to 5 years, you can go to a midwife for that. If you want to talk about birth, if you feel like you got a UTI, you can go to a midwife for all of those sorts of things as well. And so it's not just about being with somebody when they're pregnant or like have just had a baby, but really the full lifespan of reproductive health and being like, girl, what you want to do?
Listen. So with that being said, how has, because the way that the world is and the way that people, the restrictions and the limitations, how has that affected this field, especially for you, but being in certain states and the restrictions get a little heavier, especially in these southern states. Like, how has that affected how you have to navigate and how you have to consider your patient?
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of different navigation. I came up with the theoretical foundation of reproductive justice, which supports the right, which was created by Black women, and supports the right for people to have children if they want to have children, to not have children if they don't want to have children, and to raise the children that they do have in safe and healthy environments. Those are the major tenets of reproductive justice. And so you cannot access reproductive justice if you don't have access to all medication options if you were to become pregnant. And if you don't have the availability to kind of talk through what can and cannot not do. And especially because pregnancy while it is beautiful and wonderful, nothing made me more invested in people's right to choose than learning about all the things that can happen in a pregnancy.
Yeah.
And for me, it's something that you should only do if you want to do it.
Right.
Right? And so as a midwife, it is not about whatever decisions that I would want to make. It's about providing a person with, these are all of your options. These are what all of your options look like. And even if we cannot get you to those options in the state of Tennessee, what does it look like to help you travel to wherever you need to go to get those sorts of experiences? Because abortion is healthcare, right?
Yeah.
And so when we're looking at healthcare, you need access to care. And if you can't get that in your home state, what's the easiest, quickest, cheapest way to get you that? And it really requires like an underground railroad type of like,
which is I'm so glad you said that, man. Because it's like, yes, it really what it feels like, because we are at the point where you do have this, you got to figure it out in a different way, and it's so necessary for us like to have these conversations, but it's also so scary that we have to have these conversations, because we've made a lot of progress, but also we can also see like how it's regressing in real time as well. Mm-hmm. And it's like a cat and mouse. Like, you think you get a step forward, and it's like, no, friend. Actually, no, we're not.
Actually, 6 years younger.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I feel like it is a conversation like a lot of people like do have children, and they don't always think about like what the reality is, or like what the options are, what are the risks. And I feel like at some point in time, it's like you do need to be prepared for whatever scenario, and just like being educated. Mm-hmm. So for the people who don't have access to a midwife, what is the easiest way they can like access the information that they need to know, like, to prepare themselves until they can get in the care?
I think it really depends on like what sort of care they're looking for, like what exactly is going on with it. Like if you want to specifically find a midwife, the other like side of the coin is that there are different types of midwives. Oh. So you have certified nurse midwives, you have certified professional midwives, you have traditional midwives, and all of those are like different pathways, mm-hmm. and we all kind of do different things. I mean, America makes everything more difficult than it necessarily has to be. And so while we're all midwives, we, like I said, have all been trained in different ways and have different, what we call scopes of practice. So different things that we're all allowed to do, still within that window of from your first period to your last period. And so depending on, like, if you're trying to find a midwife, you can look up, the different organizing bodies for the professional midwives or the nurse midwives, and you can see a list of every single one in your state. And then, we sit here in the library. Use your local resources, okay? There are so many good books on reproductive health. I would tell you to like Google it, but the internet is not safe.
It's everything scary.
Yeah, no, there's lots of like wrong information on the internet. So using your local resources, figuring out if there are books and podcasts on the subject matter at hand to really help you like guide your learning. Because to a certain extent, like these are our bodies, mm-hmm. and we should have a certain level of knowledge about like what our bodies can and can't do.
Right. Okay, I'm glad you said that. I do think that everybody who is interested and who is curious and wants to learn more about it should look more into it. But I want to ask you, kind of like pivoting, being that it is such a sacred and such a important role, how do you deal with that kind of responsibility of like, being just holding that important role in people's lives and people's journey from before even thinking or considering a child to having a child to like post?
Yeah, that's a great question. I wasn't expecting that question. How do I manage? You know me like personally, and then before I became a midwife, I'm kind of unserious baseline, right? Like I'm just a girl. But I do think there's a way in which midwives are the original girl's girl. And yes, it is very serious. Yes, it is very sacred, but it's rooted in like a kind of sisterhood and a kind of community that I want my my clients, my patients, the people who come across me to feel well and to feel held, right? Mm-hmm. And so a piece of it is like I have to take care of myself in order to hold space for all of those other people.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
You can't pour from an empty cup, and you really have to do this work from your overflow. And so I have a friend from college who told me, we do not rest from our work. We work from our rest, which is like a totally different thing. Whereas you are going to work from a space that says I'm already filled and already full up because I've rested. I don't have to earn my rest. It's like a part of what I do. And so when it comes to being in such a serious role, I remember that the person who is most central in birth is not the midwife, the person that's giving birth. And so they are the captain of the ship, and they are the person that is in control. And I'm like there to be a lighthouse. To sometimes
you have a way with words. You have a way with words.
You know, like the work that I do is difficult. It's hard. But the person that is working the hardest is not me, and I'm like keeping that in perspective. And then I have my own, like the ways that I release a birth. Like you can't carry all of that on you. And so I'm really like stringent on my own, like spiritual and like psychiatric hygiene and even like physical hygiene. I just like taking a bath, but like I need massages, okay? Because birth work is physically difficult, right? Like I get like cricks in my neck and lumps and bumps, and I gotta have that worked out of my body. I like love to take a nice long walk to just like get it up off of me, right? Yeah. Whether it's like coming home from a birth and lighting a candle, just like, ooh, that's over, kind of close the circle, or journaling, things to really make sure that I'm not staying in my head about the births that I witnessed and I encountered. And then like talking to my friends, of course, HIPAA. Okay, so if you've ever been a patient of mine, I've protected all of your information, but you learn so much from birth. Work really hard to like share the lessons, right, while keeping people's personal information private, so that it doesn't get all bottled up inside of me. And then like I solid. Not a midwife 24/7, like I am a midwife 24/7, 365. But
it's a balance.
Yeah, like I love to read. I love music. I love, chit-chatting on the phone with my friends. So all of those things like help me, prioritizing all of those other things help me show up as a midwife when it's time for me to show up as a midwife.
I'm glad, because it is, you do have to take care of yourself before you can just like go out there. That is not a light weight. And I commend you for even being willing and feeling like probably your calling to even do that.
I appreciate it.
It's honorable, honestly.
Oh, thank you. It's one of those things where I'm like, I wouldn't recommend it unless you were coughing. Unless it won't leave you alone. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't. Most people, only give birth a handful of times and only witness birth a handful of times. And while birth is very natural, labor is work. And even when it's not traumatic, like it's hard.
Yeah.
Right? Like it is labor. Like it is labor. It's labor. Like we about to work hard, friend, for your baby. You gotta go get your baby and bring them here. Okay? And witnessing people do that work, even when everything goes beautifully, it's intense.
Yeah.
And so being able to watch that intensity and not feel the need to fix and micromanage it is a skill. And like everybody ain't equal, okay? And so if it's not for you to do, don't worry about it, sweetheart.
Okay. So if you wanted to share, what has been one of the most powerful experiences that you've had being a midwife? Or even just leading up to actually, get certified in midwifery?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's really hard. And this is so cliche. It's like every single birth is really powerful. Trying to just still like choose a favorite, like choosing a favorite kid. I think one of the beautiful things about midwifery and something that there's an opportunity for it is like continuity of care.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have a client or a patient that you've been with from the moment they found out they were pregnant to like their 6-week appointment after the baby is born, like that's a different sort of closeness because you literally watch them transform.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the birth, there's always these moments, often, especially if people are having an unmedicated birth. It's not uncommon for people to get to this point where they're just like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And to be able to say, like, you are doing it. You are doing it. Like, you're doing the thing that you think you can't do right here, right now. And then watch them come out on the other side and be like, and then I could be able to do it. And I was like, I knew you could. You know, I knew you could. And that's not to say that, like, and sometimes people need to transfer and get an epidural to be able to bring their baby here. There's no shame in that at all. And also, it's like, however you bring your baby here is how you bring your baby here. And I always wish to do it.
Yeah.
And so watching people empower themselves through like becoming a mother and like giving birth is always really powerful to see people like gain that confidence and do something that they didn't know how they were going to do when they got that positive pregnancy test. Like, how am I going to do this? And then you literally give birth to something incredible and beautiful that we've been waiting on. That's always really touching. And then I love to see a supportive father, okay? Like thinking back on having people's partners and support people, like really love on them. That's always just like, that's so cute. Because they also get to see a side of their partner that's like different, completely different. Right. Like, look at all their strength. Look at how powerful she is. Look at how like, beautiful and strong. Like it's always really wonderful to see that like flash of realization to support people's face. Like, yeah, she's that girl.
Yeah.
Okay, look, don't try it. Right. She birthed even, made one from scratch. From scratch.
But yeah, that's real though. I think, I think that seeing people have those transformative moments, it does something to you spiritually.
Mm-hmm. It's like anything is possible.
Yeah, like, ooh, because it's no easy. I commend everybody who decided to have a child. I'll be looking every day like, I don't know.
Honestly, yeah, and as somebody like as a midwife who's never given birth herself, it's my mom when I told her that I wanted to be a midwife. It's like, do you think it's going to like keep you from having children? The jury's still out, but it's like wild to see like push the whole baby out of you. Right? Like you made a baby. You just been sitting here making a baby this whole time. Like you sitting here doing whatever you're doing and making a baby.
And listen, I heard several stories. The baby PR, horrible. The pregnancy PR is horrible. Because I've heard so many stories how babies like really like strip you of your nutrients. I've heard people like teeth have fallen out.
Yes. You have to, again, we work from our rest. We do not rest from our work. And so a piece of thinking about like bringing another human into the world is how are you going to nourish yourself? Because the baby gonna get what they need.
Well, they like it.
What? Okay, they gonna get what they need.
Yeah.
Are you making sure you get what you need? Okay, and like that's a huge part of it. Like you can't put yourself on the back burner.
Yeah. And I think for women, especially like Black women, it's a challenge because we are always like pushing other people up in our own expense.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't always do that. Sometimes you do need to like take care of yourself.
You really can't. In pregnancy and postpartum, I think it's a really wonderful opportunity to practice putting yourself like in the center of your world. And I was telling a friend who just gave birth, like thinking about what she needed for postpartum, and I was telling her that it's not enough that you're just provided for. Let us pamper you.
Yeah.
Like meet your bare minimum basic necessities. And what does that look like as far as like what your nutrition needs to look like, what your hydration needs to look like, But let's go the extra mile for you because you just added a member to our family.
Yeah.
Like, you deserve to be spoiled, right? It's not a happy human. It's a whole human.
It's a little one, but it's still a human.
It's going to be big, too. Okay? And they eat a lot. They go fast.
Listen.
And so, like, what do you need to do to keep yourself well and to really, like, circle yourself with care? And I think if we thought about pregnancy as an opportunity to, like, spoil the people in our lives, like, she's pregnant. She don't need to be up and around doing all this million stuff. Like,
yeah. We've had a conversation with one of my friends who's a state, and I was like, "What do you need?" And I was like, "I really just want to get everything for myself." And I was like, "Hey, this is not bad.
No.
What do you need?
Let us take care of you, right?" I think a lot of us have issues asking for help, like speaking specifically as a Black woman. Like, it's really, really hard to say, "Hey, can you help me with this?"
Or releasing that control.
And if there's any space in which you have to release control and surrender and depend on other people, it's pregnancy and childbirth.
Yeah, one thing about it, they make you say, "I'm the boss. I'm the boss."
They show you who's in control real fast.
Yeah.
Real fast.
Yeah. Okay, I want to move on to a different segment. So I have a segment called Stick to the Plan, and it's kind of like a tips/advice segment. So I wanted to ask, what do you do to stay centered when things don't go as planned?
When things aren't going as planned, I think the most important thing, take a breath, right? There's almost always enough time to take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And doing that really reminds me to get into my body and to center myself. And so when things are not going according to plan, it's like a quick mindfulness exercise that reminds me, like, okay, what needs to be said, making sure that I say that stuff directly and clearly, and also making sure that I'm moving in such a way that doesn't feel like frantic helter skelter, right? Like, I still need to keep my center, because the burden person who, like, in whatever area of life, like, they need to stay grounded as much as possible. And if I fly off my center, like, it shifts the whole dynamic of the room. So taking a deep breath and making sure that as much as within me that I can stay, like, really, really clear in that specific moment.
I think that's important. Even just outside of it, sometimes just taking a breath and being like, "We good. We got this fine. You can only do what you can do."
Right.
So
what can I control? Like, control what I can control.
Yeah.
And, like, keep the rest moving.
And I think that's hard for a lot of people to kind of get that mindset of being like, "Hey, I can only do so much here."
That's it.
Because it's difficult because you want to control the outcome. You want things to go a certain way. And I feel like life will humble you so quickly and be like, "Nah,
no, like, none of this is fun." You thought you were writing this story. You thought you were the main character. Plot twist. Yeah. Plot twist. Okay.
Okay, we gonna circle back. Okay, so the next segment, thank you so much for saying. The next segment we have is the spark, and this is kind of like where we get into what's motivated you, inspired you, and just something that has kept you going. So, what has been a moment or experience that has truly confirmed, like, this is what you're supposed to be doing, or just something that has carried
you? Yeah, I think I decided that I wanted to be a midwife in February of 2017. I did not catch my first baby until February of 2024. That's 7 years of, like, having this dream that for a while was a dream deferred. And the moment that I decided that I wanted to be a midwife, I had never seen childbirth before outside of those, like, one born every minute, a little TLC Lifetime, like, documentary show. I used to watch those with my granny and loved them. The signs were always there. But, like, seeing the baby in real life, I had never done that before. And so the moment that I caught my first baby, like, the thrill of that, like, by that point, I had been in childbirth before I worked as a nurse in a birthing center and had seen birth, but it's different when, like, No, you the midwife, right?
Yeah.
And the oxytocin, like oxytocin is the hormone of love and connection. And we say after birth that like everybody's floating on this oxytocin high. Yeah, there was nothing like it. And that after that being a feeling that I had been chasing for 7 years, like that first one is stuck in my mind for forever. And it really just the joy, like I've done a lot of things in between deciding I wanted to be a midwife and being a midwife. I worked political organizer, worked second shooter for a photographer, worked as a family nurse practitioner, like COVID tester, like the resume is all over the place. Your girl liked money. While always having this dream in the background. And when I caught my first baby, it was like, no, this is what I was supposed to do. Like the thrill, the alignment, the flow of it all. Like I was just like in the zone. Like this is really it. And I thought that I would be able to get that in all the other jobs that I've ever had, and like nothing matches the thrill of that. So
I get that. I get that same kind of feeling during fashion shows. Because it's such a people like looking at fashion shows. People don't understand like it's so quick.
Right.
It's a quick thing. Like fashion shows are not long at all. But it's like you work for so long. Like for me, like I'm sewing, doing designing. I'm doing it right. And so I'm working on the collection for a fashion show for months. From like planning everything, the concept to like thinking, okay, this is what like picking models. It's a very like long process. Yeah, it's not easy. Kind of like a baby. It's a long process. Sometimes it can take 9 months. Like, but you work so long and you get to this moment, it happens so fast, and then it's like, because listen, the backstage of a fashion show, you're chaos. Yeah. Pure chaos, but I love it. I love being in that moment. It's like it's that thrill, it's that adrenaline. Like, yeah, like this is what we're supposed to be. Yeah, and it's just it's an out of body experience too, because you really are just like, oh, yeah. So I get what you said because I have those moments during fashion shows, and like when I be out of this for so long, and I take a step back, I be questioning like, am I supposed to be this and that? Like, and then you get into it and you're like,
yeah, there's an essay that I really love by Aki Boer. It's called The Uses of the Erotic. And she talks about how so often like erotic just means sexual. And we've been divorced from saying like, no, what thrills me? What lights me on fire? What like makes me come alive? And when we think about like using the feeling of aliveness and vitality and saying like, this is what makes me feel alive. This is what I'm supposed to do. And when we pursue those sorts of things, it totally changes the rest of our life because we know what it means to like be lit up, right? And so few of us, maybe not so few of us, but I think many people struggle to know what makes them feel alive, like truly.
Yeah, I feel like people, it is kind of a self-view thing because everybody doesn't get that experience because people don't, it's like a little bit of a privilege in a way and a little bit of freedom just to be able to take the chance to do something that can feel sometimes so unorthodox, can feel such a risk when people aren't always granted the opportunity to and try. Yeah. Because like we have to, it's hustle culture. We have to make something happen. We have to make money. We have to survive. And people don't always get that chance to be like, okay, well, what if I want to do this? Right. Because it can still make money. It can still survive off of it. People do make money doing what they love all the time. But some people don't get that option. Or some people don't want to take that option, take that risk of seeing if they can make it happen. And I think that is where it comes a big divide with people.
For sure. And I think my dad is always like, you don't have to love your job. And it's what we kind of do. I think you don't have to love your job. I'm like, it's to you don't have to love your job. But like, he's really like, no, as long as my job allows me the flexibility to be able to go out and do the things that I enjoy, I don't care what they have me doing from 9 to 5. As long as I still have the time to like do those things that light me on fire. And so if, what you're getting paid for is not what lights you up, okay, fine. But find ways to do those things that really make you feel like life is worth living.
Yeah. I think my parents are like that, and like a lot of people that I've encountered are like that too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's like a conversation that we probably don't need to have on this podcast, but it's just different because I don't think that it's so interesting that people have their perspective of like, if you spend so much time at work, why not do what you love?
Mm-hmm.
You sacrificing so much of yourself for a job and to be in this role in this place, and you don't want to like it.
Different strokes for different folks. It's like, as long as they pay me on time, I have good benefits, and I can take my time off, and nobody's stressing me when I take my time off. That's my daddy's position. He's like, when I get off the job, I'm off the job, and I do whatever I want. When you get off the job, you still thinking about those other people.
But it's different.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I like thinking about them though. He's like, yeah, but you are never truly off. Mm-hmm. She's awesome.
Well,
in case my head read me
like that, I didn't deserve it like that. But it's different to me. I don't know. Well, because it also comes the question, am I thinking about it so much because I enjoy it? Because you get the option when you don't really have to care.
Yeah, I think there has to be balance. Like I love my patients, and I also love my family, and I love my friends, and I want to be able to be present with my family and friends. Like when I'm off the clock, which some midwives are never off the clock because they on call all the time. I don't want to be that time. I'm tell you.
Yeah.
Travel, Turks and Caicos, the Maldives, even just going to Nashville, Gatlinburg. I want to be able to be away.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to go.
Yeah. And so there's like pluses and minuses. Like you want to be able to enjoy your life and also enjoy your work. Like your work is a part of your life. And so maybe there's no such thing as work-life balance. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. But life is a part of my work, and how much of my life is work going to take up, and what is the relationship between like what I do to make money and the rest of my day.
Yeah, I think it's that conversation of working to live versus living to work.
Mm-hmm.
I do think I think it's a such thing. Work-life balance. You just have to adjust because it might not look like what it's been displayed as. Mm-hmm. You just got to figure out what it looks like for you. I think everybody is different in that way. But yeah, for sure. Okay, so the next segment you mentioned it earlier is called plot twist. So in this segment, we kind of talk about the different things that are happening that have kind of like been unexpected, either along your journey or just like in life in general. That kind of just be like, what was that about? So this one, I want to ask: was there a moment throughout this process of becoming a midwife that you were kind of like, wait a minute, like is this a part of it? Did it make you question it, or just kind of just throw you off? Like, what was that moment, or if you had a moment?
The entire journey with a long list of so let me try to tell this in a like really succinct way. I need a notepad to make sure that my thoughts go in order. But there is so little. Like I said, like I wanted to become a midwife in 2017, and that was the year that I graduated from college. And I sat down and made my like 5-year plan, and nothing that I put on that little like I'll become a midwife in the next 5 years. Nothing went to plan.
That's always the case.
Nothing went to plan. Like I wanted to be a midwife, and I applied to midwifery school. And I put all of my eggs in one basket with, plus or minus, whether or not that was wise, but it was the decision that I made. And then, I didn't get into midwifery school at that time. And so that was the first like huge plot twist.
Yeah.
And even then, like when I decided what school I was going to apply to, if you would have told me at 20 that at 22 I would be applying to go to like that same institution, I was like, you have lost your mind. Okay. And I remember the day that I decided to apply, like I cried in the fetal position for hours. I can't go back there. Oh my God. So yeah, even like the decision to apply to this specific program, plot twist. Then not getting in, plot twist. Becoming a family nurse practitioner, plot twist. COVID. Right.
Oh,
COVID. Right. So COVID was the last, I was supposed to graduate in August of 2020. So my last 2 semesters of my SMP program, my family nurse practitioner program, totally dismantled by a global pandemic. And then I finally graduated. I started working my first job, and my patients had this viral illness that they didn't teach me about in nursing school because it didn't exist. Plot freaking. And so I did that for a while, And out of almost nowhere, the University of Tennessee gets a midwifery program. And plot twist, because the midwives that I was like obsessed with, they're based in Memphis. And I was like, if I go to the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, that puts me in close proximity to all these midwives that I had looked up to for a long time. And I knew that midwifery school and nursing education is a scam. That's a whole nother podcast. And so I was like, if I'm going to be scammed by American midwifery, let me at least have a community of Black midwives. And that was really a big piece of why I chose this midwifery program. But again, in 2017, when I was thinking about going to midwifery school, the program that I graduated from did not exist. So it could not be on my plan. The birth center that I worked for and did my training in had not been built. So it could not be in my plan. You see what I'm saying? And so every single delay and plot twist that I had along my journey set it up so that at the end I could have even better than what I could have ever imagined, because I had been delayed, because there had been those plot twists. So that now, even though, I'm starting this career 8 years after, when I thought that I was going to be starting in 2020, and it's the end of 2025 and I'm just getting started, it's been a way better journey than the one that I had for myself originally. But it's because I stuck with it, even when I had to put it on pause, right? And I didn't allow the plot twist to like totally make me abandon the train. Like I kept coming back to it, because it kept bothering me. Like, and because I knew what it was like to be in a birth, while I liked being a family nurse practitioner and I love being a family nurse practitioner, that thrill that I had experienced, it's not there. And so being able to come back to it even after the plot twist, it made all the difference. So yeah, the entire journey, plot twist, the whole thing.
Yeah, that so many different things you said just hit me so many different ways, because I kind of feel like that's kind of where I am in a way of like, it's just plots after plots. This whole year, been turning me every way but loose.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what is going on here? And I think when you're in the midst of it, it feels like life has its foot on your neck and you are literally like, let me up.
You leave me alone.
Yeah, like get off of me. And when you're on the other side of it, you do feel like, oh, okay,
I do understand. Yeah, two things. One, I used to love the show This Us on NBC. And the granddad William had a line in there that said, like, don't quit before your miracle. And that stuck with me. I first watched whatever episode that was, while I was getting ready to like take nursing school prereqs and was in post-grad depression, like graduated from undergrad. I'm like, I don't have a job. I want to become a midwife. How do I even do that?
Yeah.
And that quote, just don't stop before your miracle. Like, don't be the first person to tell yourself no. And then the second thing, there's this, I grew up in church. Okay, you can take the girl out of church, you can't take the church out of the girl. It's in me. Okay. But there's that passage in the Bible where Jacob is fighting with the angel of the Lord, and he says, "I'm not going to stop till you bless me." And he gets in his hip, and the angel changes his name to Israel, and that like really, really, really stuck with me. That I'm willing to fight with God. Everybody isn't.
Yeah.
That's okay. But I'm willing to fight, and I'm not going to stop till you bless me. And if we gonna tussle, we gonna tussle.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes you have to tussle. Knock me down 9 times, I'm gonna get up 10.
Listen, hey. Listen, no, we're not gonna take this to the church because listen. Because Joe,
baby,
Joe. Now it's so funny because it do be those moments where you're just like, okay, but it be those moments where you have to surrender, and that goes back to the control thing, like that is so difficult. And I think this year has been my year of like, you just gonna have to surrender. You don't really have no choice.
You do. And it's hard. Like being in the midst of it, it is struggle. It is
because life outside of you is not stopping.
It doesn't, and there's so many other things that pop up. And I will be lying if I said I didn't want to drop out of midwifery school every other day. I wasn't like y'all ain't gonna let me drop out. Like I know I pray for this, but I don't want to do this. I don't want to do.
Yeah.
I want to be a midwife. I don't want to do whatever you call this, right? Because plot twist, it was trash. Happy to be delivered, but you do just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and not be so committed to like how it has to look, and just be like, what's the baby step that I could take in the direction of my goal?
Yeah.
And if I don't know what direction I'm going to, let me at least just take a step.
Yeah.
And if I need to pivot, I can pivot. But like, I can't just sit here and let life continue to happen to me, like we were saying earlier. Like you kind of have to do something. And if it sits you down, like sit down and then try again.
Yeah. I think that's so powerful. I'm glad you said it. I know some people need to hear it, me myself included. But I appreciate you saying that.
If I like graduated from midwifery school, basically kicking and screaming. I was just like, I don't want to do this. I want to drop out. Let me drop out.
Listen, we had talked about that ledge, friends.
Lots of people stopped me off the ledge, and that's why you have to have a community. You do have to have, the dream can't only belong to you. And even though in the beginning, I don't know if everybody supported my dream, like really knew what I was doing. Yeah. But by the end, I had created this collection of folks, community that was really like, you are graduating.
You were so close. And you were just like,
they need this degree. I don't even need this.
Like, no.
I don't do it.
Yeah, I get it. Because I'm like, you can be so close and then it just be like, but that's the thing. That's what stops me from like giving up completely. Because like, you can really just be honest.
You're so close.
And then it's like, the minute you give up, you don't really know. It's like that meme of that man digging.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you just got one dig and you get there. And it's just be like, but you don't know.
You don't know how close you are. Yep. And I think that's something that I've learned a lot from birth work, that like so often the moment that people are like so ready to just give up, you're like, your baby is almost here. Like you can feel that baby's head. We are so close. Like just keep going. Don't worry about the next 30, 45 minutes. Just get through this one contraction.
Yeah.
Just get through this one obstacle in front of you. Don't worry about whatever comes next. Just do what's directly in front of you, and then rest when that trial passes. Like just rest when that thing is over, but you can be ready for the next one. But so often it's like we got all of these things that are in front of us, and it's so hard to prioritize. Like just what's right in front of me.
I think it's overwhelming trying to just pick one.
Right. But you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. You're like, I have to focus, and even if like I only focus on this one thing for 30 minutes and I can focus on this other thing for 30 minutes. But humans are notoriously bad at multitasking.
Well, I can't say that about me. I don't know what kind of human I am.
But you can't do everything everywhere all at once. Like you could have
this, that,
you can do this and this.
I'm very much doing myself everything.
No. You can do everything, but not all at the same time.
Well,
you can't be cooking while you're driving.
Okay.
You can cook and talk on the phone.
Okay.
You can drive and talk on the phone. But you can't cook and drive and talk on the phone.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
When I'm driving, my mind on click and I'm talking on the phone. It just
you can manage that, but you can't do all three at the same time. So you can drive and then go cook. You can cook and then go drive. But you gotta prioritize.
That's the thing. That's my challenge now.
Mm-hmm.
It's prioritizing. Because I'm like, how my life set up, it's just that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I want so many things. I want to do so many. And not just because, like, I want to do them because I'm good at them, but, like, I'm passionate about them.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just, like, prioritizing now before I even get deep into everything else is important because now I'm going to learn.
Right. Because I do think that you can, like, have a day where you cooked and you drove somewhere and you talk on the phone, right? You can have access to, like, all of the things that you want to do, but it's the when of it. Like, what is the appropriate timing and figuring that out and, like, trying and saying, like, look, that didn't work. Let me pivot to something else.
Yeah.
But you really have to figure out, like, this is what's important. All of these things will get done, but in what order?
Yeah. And that's the thing. They're not the order.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I kind of figured out my order.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay.
Yeah.
Because I did a little 5-year plan for him. I don't know what's going to happen in 5 years, but we're going to see.
Look, I told you my first 5-year plan laughed. The 2020, I reevaluated in 2020 and blew that up. So
I write a 5-year plan every couple of years. I'd be looking like, none of this happened. And I ain't even know where it close. But shifting gears because I'm a music girl.
Okay.
So we have a new segment called Playlist Pick. So this segment, I kind of like play music or I just talk about the songs to kind of keep me motivated, keep me going, keep me inspired for just the moments throughout the journey, the highs and the lows.
Yeah.
Of being like, I need something to push me through or just I need something to lift me back up. So like, do you have a song or two that kind of just that's your go-to to be like, yeah, I need to hear this right now. It's gonna get me through this. Or even if like you finna go deep into this verse, you like, let me play something to settle my fear.
Get me together. Yeah. Wow, this is such an excellent question. And choosing one or two songs is so difficult. A song that I've like heard while we've been talking, that is, I sound really churchy right now. But that Marvin Sapp song, like, I must be close to my victory. Yeah, that's so close, closer. So yeah, that like I'm almost there. You know, like I'm so close to what I want to do. And so, you know, the next song feels like a deep departure. But I'm That Girl by Beyonce. Really, I'm that girl.
The song that you just do.
It's not my man. The Renaissance album came out the week that I moved to Memphis.
Really?
Yeah, I moved to Memphis that same week. And so, in a lot of ways, it's been like the soundtrack of midwifery school because, yeah, and bitch, I'm the bar, alien superstar.
Yeah.
That has really kept me going. You know, took myself to see Beyonce in London for my graduation present to myself. So I'm fabulous. Yeah. Wish you were there, friend.
I love that you had
fantastic. Happy to help. Oh man, I listen to a lot of music like all the time. Beyonce has gotten me through. Megan Thee Stallion has gotten me through.
And I love a hot girl.
Baby, I love a hot girl. Okay, love a hot girl, love a savage. Let's see, who else? Doechii has got me through.
Yeah. Love Doechii. I like Doechii. Like working my way through her to start because sometimes like I listen to it and it's like, but it's like 30 songs, but it's like you miss certain things. But I didn't really catch that.
Yeah, she's one that you have to listen to multiple times. Kendrick Lamar.
Hey.
Back to the mind. Can't even understand. Yeah. Let's see. Still, like I'm always listening to music. I think it just really depends on what sort of vibe I'm in. I listen to a lot of Jacob Banks. Actually, he's like a UK artist.
He put me on.
See, that's who I'm always trying to put people on to. And I am Nigerian American, so listen to a lot of Afro beats.
I play Afrobeats.
What you play? Excellent. Wonderful. With of course, it is an excellent, nice little summer vibe. Okay, we love Ira. Yeah, listen to so much music. I'm probably always listening to music because you just need that vibe, to remind you that like you can do anything.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes, and that's why I feel like music is. Music is that just it's that reminders.
It really, really, really is. It like grounds you, it comforts you. And it kind of helps you, like if you're dancing, like get out of your head. Like you can't all stay up here. You got to move your body.
Take ourselves too seriously.
Absolutely. And I'm just a girl. Yeah. Music reminds me. Oh, also, I cannot. Janelle Monáe. Yes. I cannot move forward without thanking her for her musical accomplishment. Because the Age of Pleasure, hey, that album right there got me through my roughest semester of midwifery school. The number of times I listened to Float.
A great song, a wonderful song. Janelle Monáe does not get her accolade, and she
deserves every good thing. My actual first concert that I ever went to was Janelle Monáe.
Really?
Yeah, Janelle Monáe opening for Bruno Mars. Now I have to know. I have to know, friend. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's fine. My only complaint about Memphis is that there are not more concerts.
They just count for one. I wouldn't go in there though.
I wouldn't go in there. I wasn't gonna go. I didn't even wasn't trying to go. I said, "Oh, sorry to that man." Sorry. Yeah, you over anyway. So, no skin off of my back, but grieve with those who grieve, I guess.
I think Memphis is it's pockets. Like you can find different artists and stuff like that. I think it's more like they have like the big concerts. I know Brandy and Monica's coming, and then they just had the Queen like a couple weeks ago, which is like Shaka Khan, Gladys Knight. What's the woman name? It's Stephanie Mills.
Oh wow!
Like it is somebody else. It's escaping me, but it was like them. They did a concert. So
I've seen a couple. Like I saw Duran Bernard. He was incredible. I saw him.
Wait,
Oh, me too, girl. I think that was before we knew each other.
For real.
I saw him. I've seen. Oh my goodness. Who did Jasmine Sullivan open for last year? This is so bad. Maxwell.
Yeah.
I saw Jasmine Sullivan and Maxwell. Oh, it was excellent. Baby, the day before, I caught 5 babies in one day, turned around and went to that concert. I was sick as a dog.
You know what, friend? It's 5 babies in one day.
It was so chaotic. Maybe like 36 hours. It was awful. It was awful. I would not recommend it. And then I got on the road. My clinical was 2 hours away. And so drove back to Memphis 2 hours, got dressed, went to that concert. Time of my life. And then I've seen Joy Oladokun, which is like an indie artist out of Nashville, a Black folk artist.
I'm gonna look them up.
Incredible.
I've never heard of them.
No, I love her. She has it's like sad girl songs, but contemplative girl songs.
We
I'm
gonna
fan.
have to see because
It's like the world is. It's like the world is falling apart, but I'm still surviving. I'm still gonna follow my dreams and write this music.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm see. I'm like, hey, listen, that energy transfer to the hands is so serious. I'm like, I'll keep that over there.
No, it's not all like doom and gloom, but it's kind of like, has anybody noticed that life is hard and we're just
acting like it's not
adulting? Like, I don't know, but I saw a cute bird and like maybe I'm like the birds in the sky and I'm gonna fly high. Yeah, it'd be fun.
I calm my consistent, Well, the right benign, I went to see Step Brothers, Dr. Toledo.
Mm-hmm.
Love them. That concert was worth it.
Oh.
What not? And then I saw Don't Shit Myself. That one was great. It was that
okay.
The show.
Mm-hmm.
And then Yo Got It Right. That was my first.
Okay.
Thanks. But yeah, like I haven't seen a lot in here. Like any artists and everything, but
I like it. But yeah, after living in Nashville for almost 10 years, I'm like,
full of friend.
Yes.
That's why
you go to a concert on Tuesday.
Yes. But that's kind of why I'm like, I need to get to it. Because even when I went to Dallas, like I saw Key Glock in Dallas, and then like it was Brett Fayez came to my school.
See?
I was like, hey, need to get him out of here. Okay, but to wrap everything up, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you sharing your stories, sharing your journey. I love everything you say. You didn't say nothing. I was just like, girl. But everything, I just feel like it's such a needed. People need to know, like about your story, about the journey, because it looks so easy from the outside. It looked like it could look so easy from the outside, and it's just like you don't even know.
All my life I had.
But yeah, I'm so proud of you. Like, I'm so proud of you. You inspire me so much, and that was one of the things that I was like eager to do, to bring people on, to inspire me and motivate me on my own journey, because I've been even from the sideline, just to see your journey, and you really just want to get to a new level, because now you actually new level. No. And you're really gonna be a doctor, a midwife, certified. This gonna be so new for you, because now you official, like you got the certifications, you got the letters behind your name.
All these people test, book, all things, got all these letters. My name was long enough. Okay, I got all these letters behind it, but no.
Listen, when I get mine, okay, I ain't getting no doctor, but it's gonna be like MA. I'm put that behind it.
But you might get doctor. You never know. It's too soon to call. But I thank you. I appreciate you. I don't know. You know, don't quit for a miracle.
But listen, I know
there's people like
they're black on the complex, so we're going back to school year, boy. Hey,
they can't speak because I did it to
try to reduce the spirit for them student loans.
Mom went back into repayment last month. Yeah. Free yourself.
Yeah.
Don't be like me. Free yourself, actually.
But real. But yes, I'm just so proud of you, so inspired by you. I think your journey, your story needs to be shouted from the rooftop, and I hope this touches so many more people.
Oh.
And yeah, so let people know they can find you for your journey. Show yourself that friend, because I know how you get.
LOL. LOL. Why are you dragging me? Well, okay, allegedly, I'm starting a new Instagram, so you can follow me on the socials at Connie the Midwife. That is KANITHEMIDWIFE on Instagram. If I say this out loud, that will ensure that
I didn't even know this.
Yeah, no news to me. It's new. It's on my to-do list to do today. Yeah, follow me on Instagram at Connie the Midwife, KANITHEMIDWIFE. And then I also have a Substack that is Akaninyene's Music.
It will all be linked.
And I was like, yeah, that's long. And I allegedly am going to be posting more on Substack now that I'm not having school to ruin my life. Yeah, to just take people along on this first year. I've been a nurse for 8 years. Can I do math? No.
2017?
That's bad math. I've been a nurse for 6 years. Yeah. I became a nurse in 2019. Been a nurse for 6 years. Been a family nurse practitioner for 5 years. So like this first year of midwifery is totally different. Yeah, I just want to take people along.
I'm so excited to see what life has for you. And I said it already. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
As a friend, just a peer. Even though I'm more like Lucy.
Okay.
Still, but yeah, because you really truly impacted me in so many ways that you don't even really know. So don't do that.
Okay. I'm proud of you because giving and doing, what you feel called to, especially when the path is not straight and like linear and just like A, B, C, D.
I tried to make it as straight as I can, but it just said no.
Like that's a plot twist.
Full of them. But I appreciate that. Make sure that y'all follow the Instagram at Plan A Pod. We'll be in the description box below. And yeah, we can tune in next time on the next episode of Plan A.
Bye, y'all.